So language is made up of words, mathematics is made up of numbers, music is made up of notes. So the first thing we need to learn to do when we learn to play guitar is to produce some clean sounding notes, and that's what this lesson is about. So the easiest way to play a clean note on the guitar is just to play an open string. Open means that we're not interfering with it in any way with our left hand. The string's allowed to vibrate all the way from the nut to the bridge. And you can hear quite easy to get a nice clean sound. However, you can actually get a slightly sort of rattly or buzzy sound if you overpick. Hit a string too hard and you do get a little bit of rattle and hum coming in there. And depending on the quality of your guitar, that'll either be more or less of a problem. A very good quality guitar will actually allow you to hit it quite hard before the noise kicks in. Now, whether you've decided to play using a pick or a plectrum or your fingers or a thumb, it's worth experimenting a little bit with how hard to hit your strings before they sort of cut in. Just try playing nice and softly, a little bit harder, and you'll see after a while you hear just how hard you can get away with hitting the strings without that sort of buzziness kicking in. And it's all about getting used to interacting with the guitar and getting a sense of what you can get away with and what you can't. So I'd advise just doing a little bit of experimenting like that with your right hand before you move on and put your attention on the left hand, which is where we're going to go next. Okay, so as far as the left hand goes, the quality of the sounds you get is dependent upon three words really all beginning with P. The first thing is we want the fingers to be perpendicular to the fretboard. That means not at an angle, not at a flat angle like that, but pointing straight down into the fretboard. So that's P for perpendicular. The next word we look at is the word pressure. We're looking for optimum pressure. When we press the string against the fret, too little pressure will produce a buzzy sound. Too much pressure actually very slightly stretches the string and makes it a little bit out of tune. So somewhere between the two is an optimum amount of pressure. By and large, if you look at your fingernails and they're beginning to go white, you're probably pressing too hard. So that's a good indicator. Now the other P word is position, and this is probably the single most important thing and the thing that most beginners get wrong more often than not. The ideal position for your finger is just there, just behind the metal strip, behind the fret. As we move the finger away from the fret, we increase the likelihood that the string is just going to kind of bounce up and down on that fret without making a firm contact. So in other words, all the efforts you make with your left hand are really designed to press the string against the fret. So the fret itself does the job of stopping the vibration cleanly. So actually there are three sounds that you're likely to get most of the time when you play a note on the guitar and you're playing it with your left hand, you're fretting it. The buzzy sound, where you're not quite pressing firm enough or your finger's not quite close enough to the fret. A completely dead sound like that simply means that we've nowhere near enough pressure, we haven't even contacted the fret yet. And the other sound is the nice clean sound that most of the time is the sound we're looking for. Now of those three sounds, obviously the clean sound, as I say, is the one we're looking to get most of the time. We do actually use the dull sound as well, particularly in sort of funky type playing. So it's not like it's a totally useless sound, but it's perhaps a bit of a speciality to use it under good control. So quite a good idea to just practice getting those three different sounds out of the guitar. So now it's your turn. I suggest you spend several minutes just randomly producing notes on the guitar. And it's a good idea to produce all three types of notes. Experiment with making clean notes, making buzzy notes and making dull notes, and get really good at doing those three things. Alright, I'm going to leave you now with a little diagram that just reminds you how to produce each of those sounds. I'll see you in the next lesson.